Hi, my name is Nicholas. Welcome to this week's Yin practice. As far as props for today, I would suggest having a strap or something strap-like nearby. A couple hard blocks will likely come in handy, and then maybe a soft block as well, and anything else you like to have for your practice. We'll get started in a comfortable seat for today, so I'm going to be in a kneeling shape. If you feel more comfortable in easy pose, then feel free to choose that, and you can use your props any way you need as well. Whatever's touching the floor, just take a moment to ground it down and then lengthen the spine here. Soften the shoulders as well and notice your face if there's anything that can soften there a little bit. Rest the hands wherever feels the most comfortable. And once you've settled into stillness, start to find your breath. Choose to stay in stillness for as long as it serves you. And before we start to set up our first shape, and take a scan through the body and just notice if there's any part of you that needs a little extra care today, if you're working with an injury or anything like that. Please listen to your body as well as we go through the practice, always making sure to stay in a pain-free expression. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, we're actually going to come up to standing, finding a version of a dangling shape similar to a wide-legged forward fold. And if you want to have your strap nearby for this, I will offer a bind for it. You can also have your hard blocks nearby in case you're not quite ready to fold. Maybe you want to be in more of a halfway lift position. You can transition there any way you like. You could either come all the way up to standing or maybe from the halfway lift shape. Set up your foundation first, so find a distance between the feet that feels comfortable, sustainable, and you can angle the feet in any way you like as well. So sometimes pointing the toes in a little bit or pointing them out will make the shape more comfortable for the hips. So take your time to find an alignment that works for you for today. And the option to stay in the halfway lift shape is there, at least for the beginning. If you do feel ready to fold, then as you're ready, just let the spine be heavy here. Let the head get heavy as well. Always the option for a slight or generous bend to the knees, especially if that's what you need to support the low back here. Using your breath here with each exhale, softening anything you don't need. And if you're happy here in this shape, then you can stay exactly as you are. If you want to add the bind for the arms, then you're welcome to. Just make sure you don't need the hands for support. If you like, you can use your strap, or you could bring the hands to the hips and then draw the elbows towards one another. Otherwise, interlacing hands, and then you can keep the hands at the low back or think about extending the arms a little bit, reaching fist up towards the ceiling. If adding the arms makes it feel too intense, either for the low back or for the backs of the legs, then feel free to release that at any point. And check in with the head and the neck as well. Find some softness there, maybe a little nod, yes or no to release. If you have the bind, gently release the hands down to the floor and coming up to a halfway lift shape as you're ready. And then just a little movement here for the spine, or you can bend one knee a little bit and then extend to bend the other. And then as you feel ready, start to heel toe the feet a little closer together. And then when they're just a little wider than hip distance, point the toes out to an angle and we'll set up for a squat. So if a standing squat works better for you, then go for that. It might feel better to find something more restorative instead though, so you could also bring the feet together, sit down, and find a butterfly shape. Otherwise, I'm also going to use the hard blocks here to make myself a seat and take a little pressure out. And then a few different options. So for starters, if the hands need to be on the floor for this, then you're welcome to keep them there. If you like to bring hands to prayer, then go for it. You're welcome to stay with an upright spine. I'm going to offer a bind for the arms with a fold forward, so just make sure that that's okay for your body. We'll start off taking the left arm underneath the right, so you can bring hands to the shoulders or find your eagle arms here. And then think about lifting the elbows up a little bit. And then bring the elbows in towards the chest. Start to round from the upper back and then let the head be really heavy here. And see what this feels like for the hips and for the spine. You can stay exactly here. You can always modify your shape. And gently release your bind if you have it and come back up as you're ready. We'll set up the second side. So this time, right arm underneath left, hands to shoulders or eagle arms. Lift the elbows up, find a little bit of length. And then elbows towards the chest, chin towards the chest, start to round from the upper back towards the low. Your version of the shape, let the arms be heavy, and please modify as you need to. And gently release your arms, and with the support of the hands, slowly make your way back up. And from here, if you have props underneath you, you can move them out of the way, lower the bum down to the floor, and then take a windshield wiper to release the legs. Awesome. And then when you feel ready, we'll swing the legs around and we'll set up for cow face pose, also called shoelace pose in yin. So for this, I like to take the hard blocks and then put them between the ankles just to make a seat for when we bring the hips back. And then have your strap nearby as well, because I'll offer the bind for the shoulders. So from your tabletop position, we'll start by bringing the left leg in front of the right, so crossing at the knees, and then take the feet nice and wide apart. And come into the slowly backing your way back to come and land onto your props. Now you can give yourself as much height as you need so that the hips feel level one side to the other. So I like to start with more height, and then if you find that you don't need it, you can remove as much as you need. But if you take it away and you find yourself leaning to one side or the other, then think about bringing a little more height back. Sometimes a prop between the knees can also feel comfortable here, especially if there's a big gap, so your soft block might come in handy for that. And then adding on for the arms, you can take your strap and you can do single or double. Reach it in the right hand, reach up towards the ceiling, and then bend the right elbow to bring the hand towards the back of the head. Left arm reaches out towards the left with the thumb pointing down, and then bend that elbow so that you can reach for the other end of the strap. You can stay right here. You could also walk the hands a little closer together. And keep that space going across the chest. If there's anything that you need to soften, then go for it. An option to close down the eyes. If you have the bind, you can gently release the arms. Move your strap, maybe roll the shoulders up, back, and down a few times. And we'll transition to the second side, so option to come through tabletop and set up the way we just did, or you can take your hands down towards the right. Now press the hands and the feet down, lift the hips, and then keep walking your hands in a circle, a clockwise direction, and then eventually come back to face towards the front, and you may find yourself with a second side, so this time it will be the right leg on top of the left. And again, you might need to add a little bit more height, see what this side feels like. We're not completely symmetrical side to side, so feel free to modify. Once the hips feel steady, everything feels secure, think about taking the strap to the left side. Reach the left arm up towards the ceiling and then bend the elbow. Reach the right arm out towards the right with the thumb pointing down, and then bend the right elbow, catch the other end of the strap. And then the option to walk the hands a little closer together, keeping the chest nice and broad. Soften anything you don't need, maybe close down the eyes. And gently release this side. And release the arms. Really remove your strap. Your hands to the hips. Maybe roll the shoulders a few times. Awesome. And then we'll release the legs as well, so you can take the top one off and then the bottom. If you're sitting on props, you can move them out of the way. It might feel nice to windshield wiper the knees side to side. Awesome. And then we're going to set up on the back for some twists, but before we do that, option to take an active pose just to reintegrate everything. So you can start off with hands kind of behind the hips, and you can take reverse tabletop, and I'll demo what that one looks like. Otherwise, I'm going to take a reverse plank, and for this one, I'm actually going to take the elbows down to the floor. We've done quite a bit of work with the shoulders, so now we'll engage them a little bit. You can keep the feet a little bit closer so that it'll almost be like a tabletop shape, or you can have them further away. This will be more challenging, and then it'll be like a reverse plank shape. Whatever shape you're choosing, press whatever's touching the floor down, and then with an inhale breath, lift the pelvis, lift the belly button. Chin can stay tucked or gaze up towards the ceiling, and take 5 deep breaths. Awesome. Chin towards the chest, lower the bum down to the floor, and then you can release the arms down to the floor as well. And lowering the torso down. Take a moment to set yourself up on the back, and you can bend the knees in. We'll find the strap here. So setting up for a twist, and we're going to take the strap around the left foot, reach the left foot up towards the ceiling. Awesome. And then scoot the hips over to the left a little bit. You can extend the right leg straight down the mat. Take the strap over to the right hand, and then start to guide the right foot down to the floor over to the right. Give yourself as much slack as you need here. And then see what feels best, maybe to reach the left arm over to the left, or maybe to reach the left arm to the floor overhead. Option as well, if you'd like to find a bit of a quad stretch for the right leg, is to bend the right knee and then reach down for that right foot. Either way, setting up your version of a twist, and if any of this doesn't work for you, feel free to take your favorite twist instead. If you're holding on to the right foot, you can release that. And then if you have the strap, you can just let that go. Return the left foot down to the floor. Bending both knees, scooting the hips into midline. Before we set the second side, it might feel good to windshield wiper the knees side to side a little bit. Awesome. Make sure you have clear space on the left now. You can loop the right foot with a strap, and then scoot the hips over to the right a little bit, extend the left leg long, and then with the straps in the left hand, slowly guide the right foot to the floor down to the left. And then see what this feels like. You can adjust the length. Right arm can reach out towards the right, the floor overhead, or again, you could think about bending that left knee, reaching for the left foot. Settling into your version of a twist. If you have the left foot, gently release it. And if you have the strap, you can release that as well. Slide the right foot back down. And then roll onto your back. Bring the hips to center. And give the knees a windshield wiper side to side. And from here, it might feel nice to bring the knees into the chest, and you can reach through them for happy baby. Catch hold of feet, ankles, or shins. You can keep the feet pointing forward or maybe up towards the ceiling, mindful of the low back. And if you like to slide a soft block under the bum, then go for it. Stillness or rock side to side. If you have the feet, as you feel ready, gently release them, and lowering them down to the floor, and then extending the legs long down the mat. And for Shavasana today, choose any comfortable symmetrical shape. And this can be on the back or the front. You could also find a seated meditation if that feels better. And take your time to just get nice and comfortable here. If you need to add a layer, if you want to adjust lighting or temperature, anything like that, go for it. And as you're ready, come and find your stillness. And gently bring your attention back to the space. Give the head a rock side to side. As you feel ready to roll your way onto one side, and then pause there for a few breaths, maybe using the bottom arm to rest the head. And with the support of the hands, as you're ready, coming up to find any comfortable seated position. Maybe choosing to sit up off of one of your props. Whatever's touching the floor, take a moment to ground down, lengthen the spine, soften everything else that you don't need. And take a scan through of the body just to check in. The hands can stay where they've landed or connect the palms at the heart, bow the chin in towards the chest. Thank you for sharing your practice today. Namaste. Thank you for joining me for your yin practice. My name is Nicholas. If you have any questions, please reach out and have a great evening.